Greetings, everyone. We're out here again. This is going to be part 2 of doing a tarp shelter. Basically, we're going to be working on a plow point configuration today. Um, this is the area that we are looking at trying to do the basically the campsite for the scouts eventually. Um, Today, instead of Drew, I have William. So William, he volunteered to come out and help out with being the cameraman. So Will is out here, and he brought in with us this tarp. This is what we have for basically our tarp shelter. As you can see, it's kind of tied together with a little bit of paracord. Will can go ahead and untie it. You do have some untying abilities, right? Ish. Okay. Okay, so after a little bit of consultation, I think he's got it untied. So unwrap it around the blue tarp here. Okay, so put that next to the tree where we can find it. And unwrap the tarp. As you can see, the tarp has been rolled up, and in the middle of it, we have our tent stakes, and they've been kind of wrapped up into a bundle. We're going to have Will unwrap these as well. And through the magic of time, he has got this unwrapped and unrolled. I think I'm going to take it from here. So, basically what I've got is a hair tie, and one of these that are elastic. These things come in very handy. So I've got a handful of stakes. I am going to use these here in just a second. But I'm going to take this hair tie, and the way we rolled the tarp up, we've got our grommets all together. So I want to take one of these grommets, hook it, and then run it through basically the corner and through the fork of one of these branches. Okay. So by doing this right here, we're not really damaging the tree. We've not even tied a rope around it or anything, but just the tension alone should keep a good hold of this. So I'm going to walk this backwards in a diagonal. As I walk this backwards in a diagonal, I'm going to have the two other ends kind of flopping there on the ground. And I'm going to take one of these stakes, and I'm going to hook it. I could be using metal stakes, but I find that these are a little bit lighter, and the reason for a tarp shelter is to save on weight and space. So I put this right here in the ground, and it basically pulls it nice and tight along this line. I can then go take this, hook it in the opposite corner. This time I am going to pull it as tight as I can this way, tight as I can this way, and as tight as I can this other way. We are using a simple 6-foot by 8-foot tarp. You can find these over at Walmart pretty easy, and they run about $7, I believe. So not only is this extremely lightweight, it is also very cheap. So now, on this other side, I come over here and I grab the other corner. And again, I am going to pull it tight off the top, tight along the bottom. Going to hook it and stab it into the ground. Okay, so this is our basic plow point once we're finished and done with it. Leaves us quite a bit of space underneath it. It actually, like I said, 6-foot by 8-foot tarp. It leaves enough space where 2 people could actually sleep underneath it. One of the disadvantages, it does not have a floor, but you can carry another small piece of tarp to put on there, or you could even, if you had another piece, put like a doorway or something onto this as well. Another thing you can do to get you a little bit more headroom, and it's a little hard to see, but back in there, there is enough space that you can actually sit down in here. If I was to try and make this a little bit more roomy for protection against the wind, or protection, or just basically a little bit more space to sleep under, we could actually lower this stake and put it into this fork. By putting it lower to the ground, it helps out with the wind quite a bit more. One of the things to get a little bit more headroom, I don't know if you can see it or not, there is a rock that we took. If this was a cloth tarp, a lot of times they will put a tie point in the center. We can actually, kind of do our own thing by taking a rock and basically putting it in the center and wrapping it around a couple of different times. From there, we basically take our string, wrapping it around, and we can pull this tight back over here, and will you hand me that other rope? Okay, so as you can see, the two ropes don't quite reach each other. This is also fixed by another little thing. So what I can do is I can actually take the loop of this and the loop of this paracord, and I can go through and take this, and this would be called a wooden toggle. And you could just insert it like that, and you don't even have to tie a knot. So basically you're just interlocking loop to loop. These. And again, you're just doing nothing but interlocking a loop-to-loop system. And then I have a taut line hitch at the tree, which again, for those who remember, it is one that will hold under tension, but if you have a hold of the knot itself, it will slip. So as we do this, we put some tension on this, and that right there pulls the whole thing tight, and it pulls the whole thing tight. It prevents a lot of the rain and the wind, and also it gives you a little bit extra headroom right there in the center of the tarp. Okay, as you can see, like I said, going in, putting this in here, putting the rock in the back, it helps out with the headroom quite a bit. I don't really have to duck or hide anything. I am completely enclosed within this tarp shelter. Like I said, I can sleep very well, and there's enough space in here for a second person to even kind of sleep. So, like I said, it is a very good shelter in my opinion. Trying to think, there's several other ways you can put a tarp shelter up. I'm hoping to go through a bunch of the different ways, but this is the plow point, and it's one of my favorites.